Start your day just right. Welcome to Mornings Together with Rob, Mon, and Bernie.
Well, good morning, everybody. Hello.
Good morning. Hello.
Lovely to see you all. Lovely to be back.
I know,
Good to
B-Dog.
have you back, Bernie.
It is so good to have
It
you
is
back.
nice
we
to be
love,
back in
we
the
love
chair.
Colin,
Yeah.
but
Shout out
we
to
love
Colin.
the B-Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I came in yesterday to get ready for today, and Colin had left a gift for me on the desk. He had left over his tea from last week,
Rotten tea.
and it had slightly fermented.
Come on.
So
That's
thank
hilarious.
you, Colin, for that. But
Yeah.
no, it's lovely being back. I had a great time last week. Great time away with Vika and the family. But it is nice to be back. And Georgia, of course, without exception, is in first today.
Yeah,
star.
Georgie. Come on.
And Liz is joining us from Auckland as well. Hey, Liz.
Hello, Liz.
Oh, thanks, Georgia. You're saying that you missed me. That's very, very kind.
Yeah.
Very good.
So Georgia, the other day, we actually gave her a cup.
We
one
did.
Of our
mug.
the
One of
original
the
mugs.
Yeah,
originals.
one of the
mugs.
original mugs. Yeah.
And I can't show you it, but she just sent me a message this morning saying that the mug went on its first airplane ride,
Hey.
Woohoo!
That's
which
awesome.
which is very, very cool.
Very cool.
Georgia, why don't you chuck that in the comments section on Facebook so that
I know. We
see
would
it.
love to see the pic. Yeah. Can she do that?
She can. We won't be able to see it here, but she can chuck it in the comments on Facebook,
Awesome.
and the masses will
we'll
be able to see it.
That's
which is
right.
Hannah is with us as well. Hey, miss you guys. Can't wait to watch the
Hey,
show now,
Hannah.
as I'll have to go soon.
Yeah.
But great to have you just for this little bit.
That's
Hannah.
awesome.
Demi is with us this morning. Good morning,
Hey,
Demi.
Demi.
Hi, Demi.
But yeah, no, it's Tuesday morning.
It's
Yeah.
A
Tuesday.
fresh morning.
Talking
A
it out
beautiful-
Tuesday.
Talk it out Tuesday.
A beautiful Tuesday
A
morning.
beautiful Tuesday morning. By the way, I showed this to Rob before. I haven't shown you.
So
yet,
cool.
But I've got a little thing that's going to run throughout the entire time. It's a little sticker down the bottom.
Yes.
Oh, come on. That's
it out, Tuesday.
awesome. We are just
So if you ever
upping
we're
the
like a real
ante, man.
if we ever forget what we're supposed to be doing, it's going to run around
It's
the bottom
right
screen the
there,
entire
yeah.
time. Comment us if
Love
that starts to get annoying after a while.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we'll not show the latest stock prices of things, but
No.
the
With
mornings
the-
together stock is going upwards. Let me
That's
reassure
right.
you.
And you
So
have the weather.
so don't-
and-
I like this for Georgia. We've done 50 episodes,
yeah.
and it's only at this point Georgia goes, "Wow, this is so cool, like a real show."
Yeah.
Thanks, Georgia.
Thanks, Georgia.
Exactly. We're legit.
We've
now.
finally got that badge
Finally
status.
got a
That's
merch.
right.
Finally got a ticker.
Yeah.
It's just
That's right. We
Yeah.
got
Next
cup, we got
level.
merch.
Yeah, we're finally
Yes, we
becoming legit.
Yeah, that's right.
Goodness. No, yeah, I missed you guys last week. I did log on a couple times to watch.
Yeah,
and to
we
see
saw
how you guys
that.
are doing.
Yeah,
I
it
got
was great.
hassled by you guys a lot for doing that.
No.
I was like talking to Vika. I'm like, why am I getting hassled? These like three of my favorite people. Why wouldn't I log on and
Yeah,
watch?
so sweet.
Colin was hissing. He was like, now that Bernie, he needs to get off and
Yeah.
relax.
But it's awesome
But
that you're
it's
with us.
awesome.
We can give him the jip when
Awesome.
he's not here.
Yeah,
This is awesome.
This is great.
Look, it
Good
took
Kiwi
everything
banter.
not to imitate him sitting next to him. Oh, it's awesome. Awesome.
So I'm just seeing we might have a couple of technical issues going on
Okay.
on the other side of things.
Yeah,
Facebook is
tech.
working, but the other ones may
Yeah.
not be. So,
Sorry,
sorry.
Yeah.
We'll press on.
We'll press
Well,
on.
It would be. It's like the day Logan isn't here is the day we have issues.
Yeah,
issues.
exactly.
For those who are watching right now, you can't see this, but producer Logan is unfortunately able to be with us this morning. So I'm doing my old routine of trying to run everything at the
Yeah.
same time as hosting stuff. So we're just
Across like 4 different platforms.
across
but-
4 different platforms.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going on?
Yeah.
But it is Talk It Out Tuesday, as the
That's right.
ticker implies. And so we're going to be talking through a few things today. But I want to start with kind of an instant reaction. So while I was away last week,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Obviously, me not being on the show led to an outbreak of COVID-19.
That's
That's what I'm putting it down to.
Yeah, I know.
Or
Um,
you went out and spread it.
That's right.
I did not spread it, but obviously there was some breakdown in the barriers of protection,
Yeah.
and COVID-19 is back on
Yeah.
our in the realms of being a thing now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think there's 9 active cases,
Oh my goodness.
but they're
yeah.
all at the border
That's right.
apparently. So they're all very contained
Contained. Yeah.
apparently.
apparently.
Yeah. Until we find more.
So
You know, there's some other background
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the question on us this morning is because of that, and I've already heard this since I came back on yesterday.
yeah.
Some people are getting a bit funny about it already. One of
Mhm.
them sitting at this table, Monica.
Just saying.
Should we be freaking out about the resurgence of COVID-19? Because I've already heard people being like, "Oh, is this going to change the whole thing? Are we going to have to go back to lockdown again?
no,
Are we going to
no,
be losing
no.
our ability to gather with each other?" And there's a bit of anger with it and a bit of
Oh, yeah.
anxiety with it.
Yeah, I think there's there is a likelihood that it could happen, and we can't deny that.
Yeah.
We're very hopeful that it doesn't, but
Yeah.
the reality is, if someone with COVID has just gone for a merry old jaunt through the country and touched and spoken to and hugged a whole bunch of people, we could be in that zone again. I think the thing is we're very prayerful we're not.
Yeah.
And we still need to be really grateful for where we are as a
Yeah,
country.
for sure.
There is a whole lot that is going on out there.
Yeah.
That we are not privy to. I saw in the news, Brazil, like they can't dig graves fast enough.
Yeah.
50,000 new
The
cases.
numbers keep rising and
Numbers
rising.
keep rising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even break 1,500. It's
Yeah.
kind of those. We are very lucky.
Yeah.
And so that's probably what's driving a lot of people to say, oh, please don't let this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, our economy has
Yeah.
been smashed by it. If it happens again,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, we will see some pretty big devastation.
Yeah.
I think probably the thing that is probably throwing me just a little bit because you're
Mm.
thinking, oh, yeah, no, we're great. Thank God we're in New Zealand. We have a great country and all of that. But I think some of the breakdown at the border thing and how the media is kind of telling you all the
Yeah.
background stuff of, well, that wasn't done, this wasn't done. You're like, what?
But at the same time, I
Yeah.
love that we're surprised. I mean, we're New Zealand.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
the guys who got a bit of wire, wrapped it around, and said, "Oh, she'll do.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
That's
Yeah, it'll be fine."
It'll be fine.
Yes. Like we're not like our friends over the ditch in America, where you're met at the border with machine guns and
Yeah.
and intense questions. Like when you're over in New Zealand, it's like, "Hey, welcome home.
You're
Yeah.
welcome home.
It's
Yeah.
lovely to have you." So, for me, it's like, of course, there's always going to be maybe some things that didn't go quite right at the
Yeah,
border because that's
yeah.
just who we are as Kiwis. We're a bit relaxed.
Yeah. We are.
I'm reading an audiobook or listening to an audiobook, not reading, by N.T. Wright, God in a Pandemic.
Yeah.
And one of his opening kind of comments was they were in London and they saw it happening in China and they go, oh, that's happening in China because they do X, Y, and Z. And then it made it to Italy and they were like, Italians, of course it's going to spread there. There are people out in the streets and and then it landed in London and they were like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that we as New Zealand can be a little bit proud of.
Yeah.
We got to be.
Yeah.
We're down here and we haven't had the problems, but
Yeah.
I tell you what, in an instant, it can be here.
Yeah.
As bad as
And
it was
they use
anywhere
that
else.
language all along. I mean, even Auntie Jacinda did say
Yeah.
it's eradicated. We don't have any new cases for now.
For now.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it was always a for now.
It was always the
Yeah.
temporary. It was always the recognition that this is a global pandemic that is
Yeah.
still
Mhm.
rampaging across
And people
overseas.
are still coming back.
I like
Yeah.
what you were saying, Rob, in terms of we haven't had the same problems. There are definitely want to recognize the fact there have been significant issues
Yeah.
and problems that have come out because of COVID, and people are still suffering
Yep.
now because of it here in New Zealand. But we haven't had the widespread
Exactly.
intensity that a lot of other countries
Yeah.
are
It's
experiencing.
been like clusters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
contained.
been been for New Zealand. It's been very manageable
Yeah,
pandemic,
yeah.
which is a weird thing to say, but it is
Yeah.
it is what it has been.
Yep.
And the willingness of the team of 5 million to actually step into, hey, we will lock down
Yeah.
for a period of time.
Yep.
And that going relatively smoothly.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of things to be proud of. I
Yeah.
think, these are anxious times.
Yeah.
And, you can worry. Charles, our videographer, used a great analogy yesterday about worrying about a snake in the bush.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
There's a snake in the grass.
Yes, there probably is a snake in the grass in the bush there somewhere. Not in New
Yeah.
Zealand, of course. Maybe it's like a bitey ant. I don't know. What's the worst thing you can find in a New Zealand bush?
Weta.
A weta. There you go.
Yeah.
Mon knows all about wetters.
I do.
There's a weta in the bush.
Camping out. on-
There's a weta in the bush somewhere.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what you can do with anxiety and fear is
Yeah.
you turn that weta into Tyrannosaurus Rex size weta
Yeah.
who's
Absolutely.
coming to
Yeah.
get everybody.
Devour everyone. Yep.
Sure.
Whereas really, it's just a little bug.
Just a little
Yep.
bug.
Terrifying bug has potential to cause some nightmares, but it's going to be
That's right.
it is still a weta.
That's right.
still
And
a
Charles
weta.
says, you still have a spade.
You still have a
That's
snake.
right.
You can stomp it. You can
Yeah.
cut the
Yeah.
head off the snake,
Yeah.
And
That's
we
right.
we do wield a spade. We
Yep.
can cut it
Yeah.
off at the border, and we
Yeah.
can be that country
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
continues to lead the way. And
So I think it comes back to, we've said this a few times during the course of the shows, like be kind and take time with others.
Yeah.
that's right.
But also, you're the only person that can manage yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
That's
so if you're feeling under the weather, if you've got a cold
Exactly,
or
yeah.
whatever kind of
Get
thing,
it checked
just,
out.
you might think you're fine, but think of how maybe someone else
Yeah.
might see what's
Stay
going on
home.
for you.
Yep.
If you do have any concerns, go and get the test, please.
Yeah.
Get that all done.
Do that.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. We are in flu season as well, so a lot of people are just like, oh, I've
Yep.
just got a cold kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
that's
big deal.
cool. But like, if this thing is back out there again, does have the potential to increase, and if you're not getting it
Yeah.
checked out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be kind.
that can cause issues and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But at the same time, don't worry about the weather in the bush
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
You
From
still
what
wield the
from what
spade.
we're hearing, it's all under control.
Yeah,
And it has nothing to do with 5G towers going up across the country.
that's right.
No, it doesn't.
Georgia says, I always expected us to have new cases, but we still have people coming into our country. But I've always trusted the quarantine that they do to contain it. I think the government is going to get stricter on border controls.
Yeah.
And so
I
they should.
I personally know a couple people who have gone through the quarantine thing coming back in New Zealand, and it's been they've said
Yeah.
it's been fair and
In quarantine.
it's been good. Like they've had a man who's come and taken them out
Yeah.
for walks when nobody else is around, so they can do all
Yeah.
that. So
I thought it was quite funny on the news last week where there was some freeloaders just rolling in and getting 2 weeks holiday in a hotel.
yeah,
Free food, free accommodation. 2 weeks.
Yes.
yeah. I think a few people might have listened to Carey Price's interview with us the other week and realized that if you do come back, you might get the premier suite
Oh, I
of a
know,
hotel.
didn't she? She was like, "This is awesome."
Presidential.
I know.
All right.
So yeah, a bit of an instant reaction this for your Tuesday morning, just because I'm aware and I've heard it from, and you guys have probably heard it as well.
Yeah.
People are already starting to freak out a little bit
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
get a bit antsy about the fact that we're gonna shut down again or
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I think
We're hopeful we don't have to.
we're hopeful we don't have to. Everything
Yeah.
everybody has seen the measures that New Zealand has taken.
Yeah.
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 Just take your time and be kind with each other
Yeah.
as we continue through this.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
Well said.
so do you need a freak out? Yes, no,
No.
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 No. There you go. Mornings together.
Solving
Rob
the
on
world's
That's
problems
Don't
right
worry
Put that
about
on
it.
the ticker tape.
about it.
Don't freak out.
Don't freak out.
there. That's what we need the producer for. He can
That's
put
Yeah,
things
yeah,
on the
right,
that's
ticket.
right.
exactly like that. Don't freak out. No, it's good. Good discussion, guys.
That's right.
Well, it is good to be back.
Yes.
I did listen, to the show last week, and I was very proud of you, Rob, in terms of how you delivered
Oh.
the housekeeping stuff last
Right
week.
on, brother.
You did well.
Yeah.
I've been listening for 50 episodes.
You
That's
have.
right.
Yeah.
I should be able to do that.
You should
but,
be able to do that, but you
I
executed.
did stumble through last week. So I was like, that's right. And I just kept looking up there going, what's
What's
the
next?
next?
What's next?
That's
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
But you executed the unofficial tagline of Mornings Together very well.
Yeah,
in
he
terms
did.
of welcome
Around
to
the
the global campfire.
There we
Yeah.
The virtual campfire is great to
That's
have
right.
you. But yeah, so we still are receiving your stories during this time, and like if you're watching the Sunday services where you're seeing
Yeah.
interviews and
Yep.
stuff like that, so we love still telling the stories, still being there with you in the middle of all this. But you can fire your stories through stories@bethlehem.org.nz, just
Yeah.
like Georgia sent through the picture of her in a cup this morning.
Brilliant.
We'd love to see and celebrate with you. So you can fire those through stories at Bethlehem. It's going to be going forever now. Like
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can always send something through your stories at Bethlehem.
We love hearing them.
We
Love
do.
reading
We
them.
really, really do. I'm keen to hear in particular how you're finding being back at church on Sundays, because we have 2
Yeah.
Sundays here at BBC Now.
Mm.
Some of you might be watching online. Let us know how that's going for you,
Yep.
what you're enjoying,
Yeah.
all that stuff. It'll be great.
Absolutely.
If you want to, you can follow us on social media at Beth Bap Church, and also so that's on Facebook and on Instagram using that tag. Love to have you connect with us there. If you need to, you can get in touch with our care team via the church office, so 07-576-2344, or you can flick an email through to Care at Bethlehem, and the team are there who are keen to help you. Eric Schoolpert, our care pastor,
Yeah.
leads a team of wonderful volunteers in a number of different capacities, as well as some counselling professionals as well. So there's lots of help available if you do need it. And we still have that civil defence food as well. I think I even heard from Carl saying yesterday, like once we give that all away, there's a high chance the civil defence is going to give more, so we can bless more families, which is
Awesome.
really cool.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So if your family is being directly affected by COVID-19, get in touch and we can hook you up with some food, which is
Great.
awesome. You can fire through your prayer request via text to BBC using keyword BBC prayer and firing that through to 4040. Love praying with you.
Absolutely.
And of course, you can join us in person on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
But also the 9 o'clock service is going to be live hosted and live streamed on all the platforms you're currently watching this show right now. So we'd love to see you on Sunday morning. And finally, after the show is all done, you can search Mornings Together on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and you'll be able to listen to us around the virtual campfire anytime during the day.
That's right. Anytime.
Anytime.
To warm your little
your
cockles.
soul at any
That's
time.
right.
The fire is always warm. The
That's
conversation
right.
is always good.
Any time of day.
Any time of day.
Yeah.
Even time at midnight. I don't know.
That's right.
But a warm welcome again to those who do listen to us later on in the day, whether it be watching later on YouTube or Facebook.
That's right. We know you're there.
Or listening later on in terms of
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts. It's great to have you
Thanks for
with
joining.
us. Love to hear actually from stories from going back to the stories thing from people who do listen at different times, just in terms of how that's
Yeah.
going for you and that.
And what are you doing?
Pictures
You
from your
know?
workplace.
Yeah. What are you doing when you're listening later on?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
There you go.
you have
Take a
over
snap.
lunch, take a snap.
Take a snap when you're listening, whenever it is, wherever
Yeah.
it is, and send it through to us.
We'd love to
I've
know.
heard of people doing their exercise in the afternoon and listening to the podcast and
That's
catching up
so
on
cool.
stuff.
Awesome.
That's
I
pretty
love
cool.
it.
Catching
Take
up
a
on those
picture of
flavor tips.
Yeah, right on.
We were talking to Ray Willis last week, and he was saying that he and his family watch regularly at lunchtime.
Oh,
They will
yay
watch
to the
back
Willises. Yeah,
and,
that's
and
awesome.
watch, which is really awesome and
nice.
hugely cool for us. The fact that people are still wanting to engage with
I
this and to
know,
watch this.
amazing.
At this time, 51 episodes later,
51.
I was a bit bummed that I wasn't here for episode 50.
I
Yeah,
know. Yeah,
yeah,
we missed
come
you.
on.
Yeah,
But we'll make sure we do something special for episode 60.
that's
Okay.
right.
All right, we'll make sure.
I'll make a cake or something.
Ooh,
Right
gotta do
on,
something.
flavor. Come on. Yeah.
Make everyone out there jealous.
Yeah.
What is the they do the wedding anniversary
Yeah.
thing?
Okay, so
Gold.
50 is gold.
What's 60?
Was 60
Ooh,
platinum?
must be platinum.
Must be platinum.
Must be platinum.
I think 60 we celebrate our platinum anniversary.
Yes. Yeah. There we go.
Platinum, there we go.
There you go.
Real.
Feel free to give us ideas about what we should do for that,
Yeah.
or if whether you want to come. It could be a party.
That's
Could be
right.
Have a grandstand of fans behind.
There we go.
That would be so
be pretty
cool.
I know.
Graham Randall, Georgia Allison,
Yeah, that's
What do you
right.
think about this? You know,
That's
Kyla
right.
Gary,
Yeah.
Eric and Darren, all the
Right
all the
on.
top fans.
all the
Exactly.
regulars.
By the way, I was going to say, Kyla Gary's been very quiet on the show this morning, but it's because she's
His
downstairs in the staff retreat.
meeting, Yeah.
There's
Same
a lot
with
of
Eric.
staff in the staff retreat today.
There you go. Yes, it's actually part of our numbers down all the staff
Yeah.
because we're downstairs doing that. Georgia is saying that church in person was so great on Sunday. So nice seeing people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was good to see you. I'm like, that girl is coming backwards and forwards
Yeah.
from Wellington.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you here, Georgia. though.
Exactly.
It's nice to see you in the house.
You might as well just live in Taupo there, Georgia. You know,
Yeah.
In between.
in between. Get the best of both.
Diamond.
Georgia's saying it's Diamond. My
Diamond.
grandparents are celebrating theirs this year. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
diamonds.
Diamonds.
Great
Right.
stuff.
so anybody who wants to sponsor us some diamond rings,
That's right. The possibilities.
Sponsorship.
sponsorship. It's kind of sad we've gone for this long. We haven't had a sponsorship deal, but it's okay.
That's okay.
We press on. So part of Talk It Out Tuesday is that we kind of break down the Sunday sermon that has
Yep.
just happened. And this Sunday just been, Craig kicked off a new series called Prodigal Church.
Yep.
By the way,
Corinthians.
one of the best titles I think for
I
a
know.
series I think I've ever
So
heard.
great.
Mhm.
And so looking at the book of First Corinthians,
Yep.
I like the term he used. It was he was packing the car for the journey because
I love that.
we're going to be
Yeah.
working through 1 Corinthians for quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's a hefty book.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lots to go through, but we started that journey this Sunday,
Yep.
just being kind of setting the scene, but also giving a bit of background to a few
Yep.
bits and pieces. So, what did you guys think?
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that the first suitcase into the car
Mm.
was the intro,
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
some background on Corinth
Mhm.
Yep.
and some of the background that it was a happening place.
That's right.
Yeah,
It was like in their day, they were like Vegas.
yeah, yeah.
With the lights, it was a melting pot of business and cultures and people and ideas,
Mm.
which sounds amazing.
Mhm.
Yep.
But with that
Comes issues.
Comes
Came-
everything else.
Comes
came
everything.
everything,
Everything
else
else.
with the background. I mean, but they were really progressive.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like you was saying, for business and trade. They also would have, like he said, the precursor to the Olympic Games.
Mhm.
Yep.
They had a lot going on.
The
The
Isthmus.
Isthmus
Isthmus.
Isthmus Games, which was kind of cool. And I guess they had gladiators and the whole
Mm.
deal.
Yeah.
Which is is it your favorite movie, Rob?
Oh, Gladiator, come
Yeah.
on.
So you would,
It's in the
Rob
top
featured.
5.
Rob
Yeah.
featured in that movie.
That's
He's
right, relate
the
to
main
that.
character.
but they also were known for some things. Like they would
Some naughty things, Monica.
some real naughty things, and even they would even call you, "Oh, you're such a Corinthian," meaning that you were like you were off the
You're
grid,
yeah.
off the grid as far as immoral or whatever, but like they had the temple
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
goddess
right.
Aphrodite.
And many
apparently-
other gods.
and many other gods,
Yeah.
and who's the goddess of sex and love,
Yeah.
and they had thousands of prostitutes that lived in the temple, men and women. So
Yeah.
it was, I think, it was the Vegas of its day.
When I was listening to Craig
Yeah.
talk, it reminded me. I didn't think of Vegas first up, but it actually reminded of places like Berlin, which is a smelting pot of culture
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
The red
and
light
all
district,
that kind of stuff there, but also Amsterdam as well. Like
Amsterdam. Yeah.
those are two cities I've been to, which I think fit that Corinth
Yep.
picture really nicely in terms of it's a hive, it's a place people transit through, but also there's a huge lot of industry there, but there's also a huge lot of everything there going on.
Everything.
Yeah, well, we were talking about the young adults group last night, and we are going through the study, and I said to them, "What's a place that reminds you of what I'm talking about here?" And they said Auckland.
Mm.
And having lived in Auckland all my life,
Yeah.
you know, it's one of those places, and some time in Wellington, where you do see this diversity of culture, and with that comes all the challenges of
Yeah.
allowing those cultures to exist and do what they do and enjoy being whatever culture they are,
Mhm.
but also trying to work out how we take hold of some of those things that are valuable
Yeah.
and consistent with the Bible within those cultures, and taking them on board ourselves.
Mhm.
Often we see different as bad,
Yeah.
and we're seeing that all in the world at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's wrestling with that fact that here is this diverse place. I remember Kyle's our executive pastor, talking about how they went to Vegas on a trip when they were on vacation, and they were walking down the street, and they hand out pamphlets to all sorts of dodgy stuff.
Yeah.
And without even thinking about it, they just handed his son Caden, who was much younger at the time, just this pamphlet with, come along to see Dancing Girls tonight.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and you can imagine poor Kalisha, but this is just so pervasive in their culture. It was
So
just like, oh, this is
pervasive.
normal. Oh, this
It's
is
just
normal.
permitted and pervasive.
Just take it. And this is what we're going to wrestle with when we come to a book like Corinthians. The historical background is really important to
It's
understanding
super-
the
Yeah.
pressure.
The pressure.
And when Paul speaks so passionately about something, don't go here. You will be corrupted. You will be broken. You will be,
Yeah.
and man, we deal with some cool stuff in this book, like
Yeah.
stuff that we're wrestling with within our culture at the
Oh,
moment. So
it's so relevant.
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very fitting.
It
very
is
fitting.
so fitting. I mean,
Very
even talking with my husband about, talking about Corinth, and he goes, "You mean like California?"
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "What? What?"
Don't talk about
that's
mountains.
right.
Yeah.
Californication. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely.
But
Yeah.
the thing that's interesting, I think the thing that's going to hit hard with this book, and as we journey through it, is the fact that Paul's speaking to an environment where there's almost like this mob mentality of agreeing what is okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's a diverse thing, but there's a collective. This is generally okay, and we find ourselves in that situation a lot in our current time and day kind of thing. Where it's one of these things that me and Rob were talking about this before the show. Is like, don't have opinion, but if you disagree with our opinion, I can't believe you don't agree with our opinion.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I don't like your opinion,
Yes,
and
right.
I'm viciously against you as soon as I don't agree with what you're saying, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's this weird kind of. I use the word mob mentality because I think because the aggression to it makes
Yeah.
sense. Where it's kind of like there is this thing where it's like don't stand out, but stand out
For the right things.
for the right things
that we agree
And-
with.
Yeah, the right things we
Yeah.
agree with are,
Yeah.
are a collective opinion.
Yeah.
Don't be too opinionated, but I can't believe you can't stand with us in this thing. Or how do you say that I can't do this? Which would have been a very similar situation in Corinth at the time.
Yeah.
A real
exactly.
simple thing is, over the weekend, Auckland Blues plays the Chiefs. Sorry for the rugby analogy. I was all for the Blues, and in a room full of Chiefs supporters.
Dude,
It was just
really?
like scathing
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you what? And it's a very simple analogy, but the reality is that we do that on so many issues.
Yeah.
We do.
And you can have 5 different cultures in the room looking at something with very different
Different eyes. Yeah.
And even within our own church, we will have people from all these different backgrounds
Yeah.
hearing Craig's words and perceiving them differently
Differently.
as he preaches from First Corinthians. And so the best place to go when we're packing the car
Yeah.
is go, here's some staples we can all agree on,
Mhm.
and this will help us on our journey. I think it's a really good
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to, I guess it's so true. We're so influenced by culture, our background,
Yeah.
our limps, there's so many things. What's that quote that says, "We don't see the world the way it is, we see it the way we are."
Yes.
Yep.
And it's so true.
Yep.
But we always have to, what's the common thing? What does Jesus have
Yeah.
to say about
Yeah.
this.
Yep.
Always kind of bringing them back. Yeah.
Yeah. And Paul, and very clearly, even the first part, it's like you're called to be different.
Yeah. From the get go.
You're called to be different, but that
This
goes
intro.
that goes against everything we want to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
In our because of how we've been shaped to be. We've been
Yeah.
shaped to fit in, be
That's
part
right.
of it. Like New Zealand culture is the worst of it because if you pop out ahead, you're cut down.
Yeah.
You get cut
The
down.
tall poppy thing. So like we're forced into this kind of just fit in, please fit in.
Yep.
Forego what you
Don't be
think is
different,
right
yeah.
if just to fit in kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And the message that this book is going to keep giving us is you're called to stand apart. Jesus calls you
Yeah.
out of this.
Yep.
Because this is not the way that leads to
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Even the way Paul says that Paul called by God, almost like, hey man, I don't want to do this,
Yeah.
but you guys, God is called me.
Yeah.
I'm an apostle.
Yep.
And then he starts giving them the 411 on their life kind of
Yep.
thing,
Yeah.
but just saying, hey, listen, you've been gifted.
That's right.
You've been called. You don't lack anything.
Yeah.
That's right.
You've been given gifts.
Yeah.
And then he's going to launch into.
I liked Craig's analogy about the All Black jersey.
Oh,
Like,
that was so
Rob, you're going to play
good.
Twickenham in 18 months. How are you going to prepare for it?
Yeah.
Eat KFC.
You
Yeah,
can't
that's
see us
right.
play.
That's right.
No, you're not.
And I like that because I was sitting at Golden Sands on Sunday with at Collins Church, and he was talking about when you go to self checkout and you
Mhm.
blip and you registers the thing.
Yeah.
A commentator talks about how a lot of Christians perceive their faith like that. They're blipped into the kingdom and that's it.
Yeah.
They're in the bag ready to go home, and that's the kind of the end of the story kind of thing. You've been blipped into this faith or grafted in kind of thing, and that's all you really need to do. Which isn't right, of course.
Yeah.
But I like the pairing of that with what Craig was saying on Sunday in terms of it's actually you've been given the number 7 jersey.
Yeah.
You're going to perform in 18 months kind of thing. We need a journey, get you up to speed so that you can be ready to play.
What you need to do.
And that's the thing for all of us. God sees a potential within each and every single one of us to step up and stand out, and He's going to prepare us and go with us and work with us to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But we actually have to choose to show up at Twickenham. We actually have to choose to show up to the trainings
Yeah.
and to do it,
Yep.
regardless what our family and our friends might think.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's so. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And
Rob.
that's that sanctification.
Yeah.
That work of sanctification, the regeneration by the Holy Spirit of our hearts, of our minds. And I've been inspired in the last week. We came out of his Kingdom series, and Craig tied that up with the Amos series as well. And this week, a few of the young adults from a group really just sort of said, what do we do with this?
Yeah.
And so they wrestled with that amongst themselves, and they said, can we do these things? So they're thinking about how we can be missionally engaged within our community,
Love it.
how we can serve. A few of the ideas are coming out. I'm like, guys, this is great. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
can we as a group go and do this? Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Because what happens when the preaching of the word comes in and there is transformation, it doesn't just transform in here. Something changes,
flows out.
the way we live, what
Yeah.
we do, how we serve, it changes everything. And this is what the series is going to do to us
Yeah.
if we allow it to.
That's the important thing. If we allow it to happen,
Exactly.
if we allow ourselves to be pulled out
Yep.
and into this new thing, like
Absolutely.
we're called to be a light, we're called to be the salt of the earth, we're called to stand against kind of thing. Like we're called to stand and fight the issues that the world is currently
Yeah.
facing right now. Like, but we should be the ones in the front line leading.
Yep.
Those ways,
Yeah.
the progression of that.
Exactly.
I'm not saying leading the violence or anything like, but leading that
Absolutely.
protest against.
Yeah.
This is injustice. This is wrong. So it needs to change here, and leading it from a place where Jesus is ministering to you, so you can minister and lead to others.
And that's a key thing. Jesus is ministering to you.
Yeah.
Is gifted you.
Yeah.
So you give out of that kind of like that overflow.
Yeah.
But I think I love the analogy of the blip.
Yeah.
I love how you just said that kind of going, which is kind of, I think I'm going to talk about that at Serious Coffee tomorrow, but just how we all want, we want to be, well, we say we want to be like Jesus.
Yeah.
But in order to be like Jesus, you have to have the lifestyle of Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So we want the giftings, but kind of like an all black.
of the work.
Like I would love to, I want to be like an all black, but get up at
Get up
what?
at 4
in the morning
work
and
out.
eat what?
Eat what?
Eat what? It's like, oh no, I don't want to do that.
No,
but I want to have the glory of the all black,
Come on.
but to have the discipline, the practice
Yeah.
of being like that. It's like, oh no, I don't want that. But it's like, if we want to be like Jesus, we got to practice the Jesus
right.
way of life. And that is being in a
Sacrificial.
position
Yep.
where you are letting God love you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that is, you spend time in prayer. You come, you be in community, you
Yeah.
read the word, and then
Yep.
you don't
It's-
just sit with that.
it's
It's not an
maturity of
internal.
faith.
It's
It
maturity of
is.
faith. Like,
It's
there's a common
walking it out.
there's that common saying of insta famous, or
Yep.
like, you know,
Yeah.
you know, and I think a lot of people actually put that on their faith. It's like,
Mhm.
I'm an insta Christian, or
That's good.
I'm going to instantly arrive at
Yep.
what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm instantly going to
So true.
arrive at the perfect place for my relationship with Jesus
Yep.
And that's our
With-
culture now.
With minimal effort.
with minimal effort.
Yeah, and that's our, and I don't want to say it, but I think that's a lot of young people. They are growing up with this instant.
Yeah.
It's like, we talked about this. Jesus is walk slow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't call it rushing with God. We don't
Yeah.
call it hurrying with God. We talk about it. We walk with God.
Yeah. Which
And
is
it's
counter
s-
to our culture, which is rush, 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 go, go,
I
go.
know it
Yes.
is so counterintuitive.
As you mature in your faith, there grows a discontentment
Yeah.
with status quo. It's like,
Yeah.
if I
Holy
believe
discontent.
and live into all of these things, something's got to be different.
Yeah.
I'm dissatisfied with the way that justice is being dealt
Yeah.
out. I'm
Yeah.
dissatisfied with the fact that there's homelessness. I'm dissatisfied with it, and you're driven to those things.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm picking up from our young adults. I know I see it across the church. Whether
Love it.
you're 15 or you're 50, that growing dissatisfaction is a sign of maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in-
I
in
love
faith.
it. The angst.
Yeah.
that you're wrestling with issues.
Ah,
That is a good thing.
Your,
yeah.
your radar is pinging. You're picking up some
Yeah.
stuff you need to focus your
Yeah.
attention on.
Drive them into something new. And
yeah.
and I want to say, yeah, God is doing that. You know,
Yeah.
he's driving you into something new.
Yeah.
Let him drive you
Let
there.
him drive you.
Yeah.
Let him
Yeah.
drive you there.
There's a two part to this, I think, in terms of this idea. It's interesting because we're watching The Office at the moment, the American version of The Office. So we're almost finished. I think we've got 4 episodes left on the
with
final
Steve
season.
Carell, yeah.
But there's a character on there, Stanley Hudson, who's this awesome African American,
Yeah.
big guy, traditional in his values, but kind of loose at the same time. But he comes up with the greatest sayings, and you guys would have seen the show. You would know what I'm talking about. And if you're watching right this, and you know what I'm talking about. But there was this quote that stood out to me last night. Is like, they were talking about when Andy is leaving to go pursue his life to be wanting to be famous, kind of thing.
Yep.
And Stanley says these words. He's like, when did we forget that life was about working hard and pressing in to earn
So good.
what you need? All the people today think it's an overnight, like,
Yep.
instant thing.
Yep.
And so that was filmed back in like 2013, 2012 or something like that. So, 8 years ago, but it still rings true today.
Absolutely.
But I want to shine a light on the other side of this thing, the Stanley perspective of working hard.
Stanley's perspective. It's a new
Because-
line. Put it on the ticker.
Because there's definitely, it's easy to gravitate towards the insta famous. Oh, that's bad. You need
Yep.
to know that you need to work hard.
Yep.
The risk with the other way of thinking is you get caught in a rut,
Yeah.
and
That's
you
right.
could be in your later years
Yep.
caught in a rut, unable to move because instead of working hard towards you can almost work down in terms of embedded yourself
Yep.
in a certain way of thinking.
Yep.
And I think the call that Paul presents at the beginning of 1 Corinthians
Yep.
is to everyone in
Yep.
terms of, hey, it's it's the All Black thing. You got to
Mm.
train for 18 months. So the things are coming, sanctification.
Yep.
But also, you've been given gifts. Don't waste them.
Yep.
Don't waste them.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to exercise that muscle,
Yeah.
or else it'll atrophy.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you've just got to work the thing. You
Yep.
got to
Yeah.
work it out. But I think of Corinth, and I remember when I was a young Christian in YWAM, meeting a guy who was part of a church in Vegas.
Mhm.
And I'm like, how's that working out?
Yeah.
It's like, there's a church in Vegas, kind of thing. I was just so young. And he's like, yeah. And he's going, it's amazing. We see amazing things, but man, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard.
It's hard. The
Yeah.
pressure
Yep.
of not to conform and discipling people right out of the culture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who've lived in Vegas, have worked in Vegas, have traded in Vegas, a lot of
Yeah.
things. He says it was just so hard. So back to what you were saying,
It's hard.
it's hard.
It's hard. And that's the thing. Like, how many times have we heard from people that we've talked to, like, oh, this is the way I've always done it. Or this is like, it's almost like I felt like plateaued in my faith, or this is what I think, this is how I thought about it, kind of thing.
Yep.
But not being open to either new ideas or new pushing or
Yeah.
new direction.
Yep.
Like I think we forget that Jesus calls us to a life, and that's the key word, life.
Life.
The race is from
Love it,
beginning
Bernie.
all the way to
All
the
the way to
end,
the end.
rather than
Yep.
to just the drink station at halfway where you feel like this is a comfortable point
Yeah.
just to take some time.
Some glucose.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some glucose in your system.
And
Yeah.
once you think you know,
You don't know.
You cease to know.
You cease to know. Yeah, you realize how much you don't know.
Exactly.
exactly.
But
I've
that's
written
always
this in
a
your-
good place to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you feel the tension of that, like,
Mm.
I thought, but always being open to change and
Yeah.
move. And
Like I reckon Paul would have found he would have encountered people in Corinth who maybe believed in Jesus,
Yes.
but maybe had gone to a point, and Paul's arriving, and we read this because he's like, hey, you've got gifts, you got to go for it, man. Like
Yeah.
you know, it's cool you've done this first part, but you got to keep going.
Keep pushing on.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a message to a lot of us
Yep.
in terms of our faith, in terms of how we're moving through this time.
It's the next level.
Because I think that's why I'm saying there's this two-sided thing. It's like we can't think it's going to be an overnight, maybe it's Maybelline kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to keep going
Yeah.
because God is with us. He's going to keep giving us gifts, and we just got to keep
Yeah.
pressing on and moving on.
Like mainland cheese. Good
Yeah.
things take time.
Yeah. Or Pantene. It won't happen overnight,
but
but
it
it will
Will
happen.
happen.
How are we not sponsored by these companies
I
yet?
know. Come
We're
on.
using your taglines here. For Christian
We might
purposes.
get pinged on copyright, but
Oh yeah, sorry.
Let's not do
Yeah,
that. Oh,
exactly.
and we're shut down.
and we're off the
We're off
air.
the air.
I think for us in our faith, we even if we do get this instant thing that happens
Yeah.
in a week or whatever it is, it's then how are you going to use that gift you've been given?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because yes, some of us can slog our guts out for ages and it takes years.
Yeah.
Others might get that opportunity, like an Insta famous person.
Yeah.
And they're here 1 minute and gone the next. And I think about some of in my world, the Christian world, some of the preachers
Mhm.
who are big names, and then actually
They
I haven't heard
disappear.
of them for 6
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
What is it that's consistent and ongoing
Yeah.
about your
Yeah.
faith
Yeah.
that you're driving into and you're leading more people? And it's not about being famous or anything like that. It's about just taking the next step for God.
Yeah.
along
Yeah.
that
Taking the
journey.
next step, the next step.
I think for
So
me,
true.
yeah, being like young, I think as a young Christian, I was put into leadership straight away.
Yep.
But you know what? That was a terrifying
Yeah.
thing. It really kept me extremely humble because it's like, God, if you don't do it,
Yeah.
it ain't happening.
Yeah.
If it and can you lead? Can you do all that kind of thing? Really early on, and thinking, man, it kept me just like
Mm.
fearfully hanging on
Yep.
for dear life. Of
But
and
at the same time, there's an awesome picture there because someone saw potential in you.
yeah, which is amazing. It's crazy
And put you
I
in a
was-
leadership position. It's similar.
Dude,
to,
I was a hot mess.
but it's similar to what, like,
It's
Craig
crazy.
was saying on Sunday in terms of
Yeah.
say Ian Foster rocks up. Hey, I see potential in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got you
It's
on this
exactly what it
18
was
months track
like.
to be
Yeah.
able to rock it in Twickenham.
Yep.
Jesus is the same with us. Like,
Yep.
Paul, who's the speaker in this case, he was a kind of an Insta famous kind of guy.
Yeah.
Though even still,
Overnight.
even-
Dramatic.
yeah, he had a dramatic
For
conversion.
the wrong reasons.
He had a
Yeah.
dramatic
Yeah.
conversion, but he
Boom,
still took
Paul.
like 3 years to
Yeah.
get trained up before he was out
Yep.
doing
With the-
ministry kind of thing.
with
Because the other disciples were like, I don't know if this guy's going to
Exactly.
kill us or not.
Exactly.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So there are cases of this radical conversion.
Yeah.
But I like that picture of Jesus sees something in us that we don't see, just like your leader saw something in you
I
and threw you into
know,
the
it's
position.
amazing.
And
Scary, but amazing.
but you
yeah.
do get thrown into that situation where it's like, Jesus, I need you, otherwise I'm going to go bust
I
here.
can't.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
One of my favorite lessons that was taught to me early on as a leader is that I do, you watch, we do, then you do.
Yeah.
So I do, you're watching me, you're seeing, and this is a classic Jesus kind of scenario too, when he's walking with his disciples. Hey guys, watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does ministry. Okay, guys, let's do it together.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, now you're on your own. Here's
Yeah.
the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's
And
talk about it
let's
around a
talk about it.
campfire.
Yeah.
What does
Come
that
on.
mean?
What did it mean?
What does it mean when you say?
Why did you do that?
Yeah. Exactly.
I am
Yeah.
continually gutted that we didn't get to read the in between lines about how
Yep.
Jesus would sit down with Philip or sit down with any of the guys and be like, "Yo, this breakdown what just happened."
Yep.
Because I remember when I was on mission school, you'd always come back and you'd debrief.
Debrief.
And-
Yeah. Yeah.
What
and
was
you'd-
that about?
What
Yeah,
was that about? How
exactly.
did you do
Yeah.
with your missions leaders and things like that? And I'm sure that happened with Jesus and the disciples.
Oh,
like
Absolutely.
It would be
Yeah.
a daily around
The-
some hummus and some wine. and
Peter
be
man,
like, "Tell me
you
about
just
it."
got to get this
Yeah.
a little bit around across the line. Or
Yeah. Yeah, when you did that, why
yeah.
did I do it like that?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
as a chef, I was learning with someone, and I did it, and I was like, I look at the chef and like, did I do that right? And they're looking at me like, close.
Close.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I reckon those kind of conversations were going on all the
Yeah.
time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And they're tough conversations. No one wants to be criticized. No
No.
one wants, I want to do it perfect the first time. Doesn't happen,
Doesn't
chum.
happen.
Doesn't happen.
Like, you've got to make mistakes, and we've also got to allow places for people
Yeah.
to develop and make mistakes.
Yeah.
in that
And to
area.
be teachable
Yeah.
with that, to be a
Yeah.
teachable spirit. I remember someone saying that about my daughter
Mm.
in hockey. And I said, man, she's got picked for this elite team. And he was like, but man, she's so teachable.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
work with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Give me a teachable spirit anytime. And I remember Ian Foster saying the same thing
Yep.
in an interview here.
Yep.
What he looks for in picking an all black,
Yep.
he says, is teachability.
Yep.
If
That's
I
right.
can teach them, I can work with them. The guy who thinks he knows it all, he goes, often you don't go for that guy. You go
Yeah.
for the one
Yep.
that you can work with and
That's right.
teach. Yeah.
Yep.
And train.
Yeah, no, I just want to say welcome back to everybody. So
Yeah,
we've gone
We're
down
just
a
having this big old banter over
Having a
here.
big old
yeah, that's
banter
right,
over
we're
here.
on live.
we are live and we are still with you. Lovely to have you with us on Mornings Together this morning. Breaking down the Sunday message, of course. I just want to jump.
Talk it out.
Eunice Witherford is saying, "Love this chatter. So good hearing you unpacking Sunday's message. Thank you.
Oh, yay,
great.
Eunice.
Hopefully it is helpful. Hopefully it is
I
actually
hope it is.
enriching discussions that you might be having with your life group this
That's right.
week.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point we wanted to do
Yeah.
this
Absolutely.
thing on Tuesdays, kind of break it down a little bit more. Want to keep diving into it, I think. Just jumping back to what you were saying, Mon, about someone saw something in you and let you run with it thing. We don't like critique, like you were saying, Rob. But talk to any of the big leaders out there, anybody who's had to slog it out a little bit, whether it be church leaders, business leaders, kind of thing. They will all attest that there been that one guy who, or lady who kind of would keep critiquing them and helping them grow.
Oh yeah.
Because there is the two different types of critique. There's the one to make someone feel like rubbish, and there's the one to help make people
Drive you
grow.
Yes.
Yep.
And the reality is, and this is what we hear early on from Paul's writings in the first part of Corinthians, is that God is with you. Jesus is with you. Holy Spirit is with you to give you all that you need to be able to do it.
Yep.
And with it, it's not always just like you're going to feel like Superman.
Yep.
It's actually, he's there to minister to you and to transform your heart and stuff like that in the journey.
Yeah.
Wading through mud still builds muscle.
Yeah.
And I had
Oh,
an
good.
experience
That's a good line.
as a pastor where I had someone who was not a fan of me, and he came up to me and said, "I didn't vote for you to be a pastor." That person was one of the elders.
Oh, wow.
But that journey was tough because I felt God say to me, "You still need to love this person." As you would love anyone else, and you need to walk with them. And quite literally for that whole journey I was there, this person was still not a fan and was not convinced, and that's okay. But I just loved on them. And I knew that actually this is developing character in me. There are going to be people constantly who don't like what you do. Are going to probably press against you for that whole time. But if you feel the call of God in your life, you've got to press in. And it's going to feel like wading through mud. And we sort of think, surely, God, if this is something you want me to do, you're going to make it easier. And there will be times when he does, but there's going to be times where you're just going to have to wade through that mud.
You have to wade through the mud.
We have to keep that healthy perspective of we're Christians. We follow the man Christ, Jesus, who was killed because of his teachings and his opinion and stuff like that. He rose again, yes, to life, but he was killed because the teachings he brought, which is life and truth,
That's good.
were not taken upon by the people of the day. And there was objection, there was riots, there was there was pushback. And a lot of the time we think that is like, if I'm doing what Jesus wants,
surely I should be.
Surely things should be cruisy. And there's a lot of kind of interesting teaching out there that kind of says that kind of thing. But the reality is, like, if you're following Jesus, look at the life Jesus led. He walked across the Middle East. Got one time right on a donkey. 2 times if you include him being brought there in Mary's womb. Like his entire life, he was walking, he was working hard. He was a carpenter by trade, working hard with his hands. And he was ridiculed and persecuted, hated by his own family, like people in his own hometown. But we know his teachings and the way he led others leads us to God and a great understanding of God. So in our practices of faith, in terms of our stepping out and doing this, be aware gospel is controversial.
It
Absolutely.
is. You're going to have angst. You're going to have people.
Yeah.
who
It's
push back.
offensive.
It's offensive.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
people ain't
Jesus
gonna
was-
like what you're gonna
yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Jesus offended everybody,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
right and left. Yeah.
But I can share this from a personal experience. When I've been put in situations where I've been bold for the gospel or shared boldly or acted boldly upon it, the presence of the Lord is there in a way that I've never felt before.
Yeah.
I remember I was at mission school with Steiger. We were in. We did this thing called we did a zombie walk.
Mhm.
Back when they were kind of a trending thing, we thought let's do a zombie walk, and we'll go through the main street of this main German town. And at the end, there's like this park, and at the end of the park, we'll do a bit of a drama, and then Bernie, you'll preach. I'm like, cool, all right, that sounds great. And so we did this incredible zombie march. We invited people from the community to join it. It was. There's a video about it, and it's hilarious. Like we were stopping traffic and stuff, and all these zombies were covered in blood going down.
Wow.
But I remember like we got to the end part, and I was sitting with this group of people, and then I got up to preach, and I kind of wiped the blood away, and I talked about how we in life we can be like the living dead until we know Jesus. We become fully alive.
Yeah.
Come on.
And because of the type of people you invite to a zombie walk, some interesting characters.
Yeah.
And right at the very end, when I was preaching and offering people like a chance to respond to this,
Yeah.
one or two people were like hail Satan, like they were full on Satanists in amongst the crowd.
Yeah.
They did,
Full on.
but there was a peace.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
I was bold,
Yep.
shared the gospel.
Yeah.
We're doing that, and even the people who claimed to love the enemy were sat there and listened, and we were able to
Yeah.
have conversations with it.
Absolutely.
So that's one example.
Brilliant.
Transfer forward to a couple of years ago, we're doing a New Year's tour with No Longer Music here in New Zealand, here in our good old country, New Zealand.
Good old New Zealand.
We're at Whangamata.
Ooh.
New Year's
Melting
Eve.
pot.
New Year's Eve.
The Las Vegas of summer.
Yeah. And we get like 75% through the show. Not even that, probably.
Yeah.
And there's a riot happening at our sound desk. Like, people have cottoned on that we know we're Christians. We're gonna about to talk about the gospel in a powerful way, and the place is just exploding. And it's
Wow.
parents, Kiwi
Wow.
parents, and they're just going absolutely nuts. Like there's the threats of violence that they're screaming at our sound guy and sound tech. Like these are guys who have done tours through the Middle East and all kind of
Wow.
stuff, like scary places. And like you ask them like, what's your most scariest experience?
Whangamata.
Whangamata, New Zealand, doing that show. Because
Oh.
it was insane. And so
Yeah.
the organizers were crazy, super angry. So I was tour manager for that tour, and I'm just being berated and attacked, like verbally, kind of thing, from their production people and from their side of things. And I'm like, we got to shut this down. We got to get out of here because like I'm worried for our team's safety, kind
Wow.
of thing.
Yep.
And so there was just this intensity in the air, like it was like electricity in the air, like this hatred of what we were there and what we are trying to do.
Yep.
And for me, it's like even in the middle of that fear and that kind of intensity and that the possibility of actually being hurt, there's a peace.
Wow.
I was rocked and still am rocked by the fact that happened just up the road from us here. And that is a reality of the offensiveness of the gospel is
Yeah.
that kind of reaction kind of thing. But this is what the call to follow Jesus is all about. The fact that
Absolutely.
there will be times where you'll be preaching to a bunch of Satanists and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then there'll be other times you'll be playing a show at a family concert in Whangamata,
In the summer.
and it'll get people
Yeah.
will rile up and try and
Yeah.
beat you in the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah. Dude, sometimes that can even happen in a Christian environment.
Oh yeah,
I think even in the Christian environment that I worked in, teaching gospel,
Yeah.
Mhm.
teaching Jesus in primary is great, but
Yeah.
the minute you hit secondary, oh no,
oh yeah.
Yeah. That's
there's pushback.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, oh no,
Yeah.
this is not cute anymore,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so we're not going to have that, and,
Yeah.
you would get that, which is amazing. But I think, and like you said, in following Jesus,
Yeah.
I think me as a young one also preaching and doing all that kind of thing when you're like
Yeah.
in the midst, like at a Willie Nelson concert, and you're told you have to go and perform the skit and give the message kind of thing. It's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But I remember always having the idea, I think when my leaders said that to me when they saw the potential, but always said, don't ever let your giftings overshadow the character. The character
Yeah.
comes first,
That's so
because
good.
your gift will crush you.
Yep.
If you don't have the character to sustain the gifts.
And that's what Paul's alluding to in the first part that Craig covered
Yeah.
as well. Is like, don't waste your gifts.
Don't waste your
But also
gifts.
don't use your gifts for selfish indulgence or
which
That's right.
yeah.
which can happen if you don't have, okay, what is humility in the character?
But I
and
like
all
what
that.
you're saying, because a lot of the key leading preachers you see, you're talking about this earlier.
Mm.
So a lot of them experience falls from grace because they're not keeping that character in check.
Yeah.
The last few years we've seen a spate of it, and in tying with the Me Too movement, a lot of like well-respected pastors and senior leaders having to step down from their ministry because of misconduct in the background of things.
We talked about this last night with the young adults. I said, I don't want you to follow Rob Stacey.
Mm.
I want you to follow Jesus.
Yeah.
Because Rob Stacey's just looking at Jesus and saying, let's follow that
Let's
person.
follow that
Yeah.
person.
And often we gather around a personality that's not Jesus.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that person is just trying as hard as you are to try and
Yeah.
follow Jesus. So it's always about following that line.
Yeah.
And I'm looking past Monica at the Jesus she's following.
Amen.
Yeah.
And yep, I may be a lot further back than her at the moment,
Yeah.
but one day I may be further forward. We're all
Dude,
going in
it
the
ain't
same
hard
direction.
to-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't hard to
I'm a
pass
long
me.
way
Yeah,
behind
that's
Mom,
right.
just saying. But that's where we're moving this week in the
Yeah.
next passage.
Yeah.
It's not about Apollos, it's not about Paul.
Exactly.
It's
I
about
follow-
Jesus Christ crucified.
Amen.
And what this whole story is about. How are we walking with Jesus?
Yep.
Yeah.
So good. I think that's a good place to finish up today.
I reckon. We
so-
follow Jesus.
Amen. We follow Jesus.
Oh, good start
Good
to the
banter.
conversation. I hope there's been some parts in here that have challenged you, maybe giving you some thoughts for today.
Absolutely.
Maybe what are those risks you might want to take? How do you feel like God's calling you to stand apart?
Absolutely.
What are the gifts He's given you, and how are you using them?
Yeah.
Maybe you've been a Christian for a long time. You're feeling a bit more entrenched.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a chance for God to do some kind of shaking up in your life, in terms of
Yeah.
maybe call you into something new, or lead you into something new. But we'll wrap things up for today. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Yeah.
We will be back on Thursday morning with a surprise guest.
Yeah.
Maybe because we have an
It'll be a surprise to us too.
Yeah.
yeah. It's such a surprise. We have no idea who it's going to be, but that's always good. That's always fun. We've done that a few times, and it's always turned out well. So be well and take care.
Have a
Be
great
kind with each other.
Yeah.
And listen again. Thank you for listening. If you're listening later on the day during the podcast, you
Yeah,
can do
we
that
love
by
you guys.
searching Mornings Together on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We will be services at 9 o'clock and 11 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Yes.
All these things I'm saying again because I don't know why. I'm trying to figure out things at the same time. But we will catch you guys later. See you on Thursday. It's good to be back. Take care and see you later. Bye bye.
See you later. Bless you.